Today we're going to learn practical business English through insights drawn from an interview with Professor Mieko Nakabayashi of Waseda University. In this session, we will break down several important expressions that frequently appear in high-level discussions about policy design, political decision-making, and strategic communication. Let's explore these key terms and understand how they are used in real professional and academic conversations.
Our next guest says Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba was supposed to change the LDP's image, but people are disappointed that he doesn't have the clout to change the party's culture. Joining us now is Mieko Nakabayashi, professor at Waseda University. She previously served as a member of Japan's House of Representatives. It's great to have you with us. So tell us a little bit about how you feel about Prime Minister Ishiba's leadership in the past month. We have seen him backtrack a little bit from some of his political election pledges.
Exactly. Maybe that is the reason that his support rate is dropping toward the end of his campaign for the LDP. And people are a little bit disappointed because the reason that his predecessor, Mr. Kishida, stepped down unexpectedly, actually internationally, that because he suffered from such a huge scandals of campaign financing and related to certain factions. Also, the scandal of the unification charge. And Kishida administration couldn't deal with it, couldn't establish higher transparency. And people expected Mr. Ishiba would do something better. And his support rate went up much better than Mr. Kishida's. However, throughout the campaign, he slightly changed his statement and commitment and became softer to those members or candidates who had all sorts of scandals.
Let's talk about the word transparency. In business, politics, and public administration, transparency refers to the clear and open sharing of information. It's about showing how decisions are made, how money is spent, and who is responsible for what. High transparency builds trust and reduces the risk of corruption or misunderstandings. You'll often hear this term in discussions about corporate governance or government accountability.
So what does this mean for the Prime Minister then? Would you expect it to go as far as him not being able to form a government and a coalition and not surviving this vote?
Well, we haven't seen the results of the election. Therefore, we cannot say anything particular. However, there are lots of signs that he may lose many seats. If he can rely on Komeito, the allied party, then maybe he can hold the power and form his administration again. However, he and Komeito combined lose a huge number of seats. And if they lose power, well, they have to think about a new coalition, maybe. And there are some rumors that one of the opposition parties may help them out, but we don't know about it.
You say Ishiba was the hope. If he doesn't have the ability or the clout or the personality to be able to make these cultural changes, then is that hope for change within the party dashed?
The phrase "the hope is dashed" describes a situation where expectations fall apart. It's used when people are optimistic about a decision, a reform, or a market trend, but something happens that completely destroys that expectation. You'll hear it often in economic reports or political commentary when reality fails to match predictions.
Yes, I think entire party is hurt. And actually, the LDP is split, fragmented so much, particularly with the right-wing members. And Ishiba was always criticizing those people, but now he has to govern the party. However, those who are opposing Ishiba never gave in. That was the problem. And Ishiba must take them inside his side. Otherwise, he cannot govern the LDP. But so far, those people who really do not like Ishiba are not cooperating. And if you look at the campaigns, those campaigns are run almost separately. Ishiba is not invited to help those members who are tainted with the scandals. And for example, Takaichi, the rival of Ishiba, is very popular to be a speaker for those, or a stamp speaker for those scandaled members. Therefore, the LDP is divided so much, and there is an internal war going on, even during this important general election, to make the LDP win as a whole. However, it is really fragmented. Therefore, after the election, we don't know how they can come back together and help each other.
The expression as a whole is used when we want to talk about the bigger picture rather than individual parts. It's common in economic analysis, social commentary, and business reporting when describing nationwide trends or company-wide results. It helps the speaker shift the focus from small details to overall performance.
If we're worried, or if you're worried, and clearly voters may be concerned about Ishiba's capability and the confidence in him domestically, does that also extend to potentially being concerned that he may struggle to manage the relationship with the United States depending on what happens in the US presidential election?
That is a huge concern to us, too. It depends on who is elected for the U.S. President. And if, for example, Mr. Trump is elected, well, we wonder if Mr. Ishiba is a character to get along with Mr. Trump. Well, I guess Mr. Ishiba does not play golf very well. He is not good at flattering any even foreign leaders or Mr. Trump, for example. Therefore, he may not be able to do well. However, there is a hearsay in Japan that maybe Mr. Aso, who already met with Mr. Trump, may come in and help him out. However, Mr. Aso and Ishiba are not getting along very well. That is another concern that people are having. Right. At the same time, I talked with lots of civil servants who are trying to save Japan, save the LDP, eventually save any kind of administration, which is currently maybe Ishiba holds, and will hold after the election. And they were trying to somehow re-educate Mr. Ishiba and make him more somehow good leader to cooperate with all those people who actually he criticized previously, and then maybe he can become a better leader.
The term hearsay refers to information passed from person to person without solid evidence. It's frequently used in journalism, legal discussions, and business communication to warn that a statement may not be reliable. When something is hearsay, it means we should not treat it as a confirmed fact. Hearsay and rumor are often mixed up, but they mean different things. Hearsay is often used in legal or business contexts to show that a fact is unverified. A rumor, on the other hand, is an unconfirmed story that many people are talking about.
Miko, we have seen the Washington-Tokyo alliance being pretty strong in recent years, despite the fact that we have seen a lot of course, really struggles in the past. And you are a lawmaker yourself, right? And you were in the House of Representatives during a time when then ruling Democratic Party of Japan was in power, during the brief period of time when we actually had the opposition in power.
Right.
Prime Minister Ishiba and the LDP have tried to make it look like the opposition is not ready for government, really reminding voters of the instability during those years. And I mentioned the U.S. alliance with Japan because at that time, of course, there were a lot of controversies around like American bases in Okinawa, for example. How would you respond to that?
Well, I really didn't like the way that former Democratic Party of Japan governed. Therefore, the party was split. And now there are mainly two parties actually split from then DPJ. And that party is gone. It does not exist anymore. That was a huge reason. And there are so many different policies and people. Interestingly, if you look at for example, Constitutional Democratic Party, currently the biggest opposition party, that is also split if you look at inside. The leader, current leader, Noda, is the sort of right to the middle person. And there are lots of people who are much more progressive within the party. But if you look at the LDP, they are split too. Interestingly, there is a moderate people and then far-right people.
The word progressive is often used to describe policies or people who support innovation, reform, and social change. In politics, progressive leaders advocate for new systems or modern approaches. In business, a progressive company might embrace digital transformation or flexible work styles. The term is positive, but it also suggests a clear break from traditional thinking.
And once the far-right people take over, then the party gets really unstable. That happened to the former DPJ. And after they were split, then the current biggest opposition party, the Constitutional Democratic Party, suffered at the last election because they leaned toward Communist Party too much to the left, too progressive. So we are saying that whatever the party is, if you lean to the left or to the right, then the party would fail. And the DPJ learned from it. Therefore, they elected Mr. Noda, who is much more moderate to the opposition party's leader. But still, other parties are there and they're split.
Yeah, we'll see how the elections on Sunday turn out. But Miyako Nakabayashi, thank you so much for previewing what's to come. Professor at Waseda University. Of course, we do have the general elections coming up on Sunday, and you can actually get more commentary and analysis on that event on TLIV Go from Bloomberg's expert editors as well.